How much do you need to be making in order to comfortably afford the new 2025 Porsche 911 Carrera 4 GTS? Let's find out. Also, I've partnered with a new company called Feeling Pretty Good on this video, but more on that later. So the Carrera 4 GTS is the top trim level of the new 911 Carreras and has a starting price of $172,700. And just to go over a few of the main features on the Carrera 4 GTS before we get into the configuration and the pricing, it goes 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds. It has LED headlights, 4-point daytime running lights, adaptive air intake flaps, as well as a 12.65-inch curved display, Apple CarPlay, Porsche Connect, rear axle steering, and most importantly, the new T-hybrid technology, making this the first Porsche 911 with a hybrid system. And of course it offers a bunch of other features as well, but let's take a look at the configuration and the pricing and see what the actual cost is of the new 911 Carrera 4 GTS. So first of all, you have the choice of white or black exterior that is included in the price, plus an additional 4 neutral metallic colors for an additional $840, as well as 5 other color options for an additional $1,500, plus 3 other color options for an additional $2,980, and then you can also do paint to sample where you can pick your own custom color for an additional $14,190, or the choice of Paint to Sample Plus, which is an additional $31,060. Now in terms of wheel design, there are 3 options that are included in the price, but there are other options you can choose from for an additional cost as well. Now for the leather interior, there are 8 different options that are included in the price that have different color and stitching combinations that you can choose from. There are also 4 other two-tone color options you can choose for an additional $430. And there are 2 club leather interior options for an additional $1,780, and a two-tone club leather interior option for an additional $2,480. And you also have your Race Tex interior options, which are an additional $4,940. Now the 911 Carrera 4 GTS does come standard with 4-way sport seats plus, but you can upgrade to full bucket seats for an additional $5,900. And while I do understand that the 911 is very customizable, and if you were to purchase it brand new, you are likely to pick your own customizations and options. However, I do want to go over some of the different packages and options that are available, because if you were to purchase this from a dealership or wait a couple years to purchase a used one, it's not likely that you're going to find one that doesn't have any add-ons whatsoever. But they do still have an additional cost added. For example, in order to have ventilated front seats on this 911 Carrera 4 GTS, it would be an additional $840. And you also have the premium package option, which includes the lane change assist, surround view with active parking support, adaptive cruise control, the Bose surround sound system, an ionizer, and a storage net as well. And all of this comes at an additional $4,600. And you also have the premium package with remote park assist for an additional $5,020, which obviously comes with all of the same features as the premium package, but just includes that premium park assist as well. And honestly, I would feel pretty good about that package choice in particular, because those are features that I personally would want to be added on, and I prefer the package route over the individual add-on option. But speaking of feeling pretty good, I actually partnered with a company called Feeling Pretty Good that just started out. It's an automotive lifestyle brand, and actually the shirt that I'm wearing right now is from Feeling Pretty Good. It's only available for a limited time, but if you want to try them out, you can use my code HAVEN at checkout for an additional $9.11 off your first order. And it very much helps the channel and helps me keep making these videos, so I do very much appreciate it. But back to the Porsche. Now there's lots of different accessories and add-ons that you can choose from individually, all the way from a fire extinguisher for an additional $140, to the Porsche crest on the front headrest for an additional $310, to the Bose surround sound system for an additional $1,600, or an even higher choice for the Burmester high-end surround sound for an additional $5,560. And you can also choose to have it delivered to one of the Porsche Experience Centers for an additional charge as well. But let's look at the cost breakdown of all of the base choices with no additional upgrades whatsoever, starting with the standard delivery, which is $1,995. And if you added an 8% sales tax, then that would be $13,975.60 that you'd be adding in sales tax as well, which is then going to bring the total price to $188,670.60 for the 911 Carrera 4 GTS. Now let's say you put a 10% down payment, then that's $18,867.06 that you'd be putting down as well. And let's say you got approved for 72-month financing, which is a total of 6 years at an 8% APR, then your monthly payments would be $2,977.21 a month for the 911 Carrera 4 GTS. And in those 6 years, you would pay a total of $44,555.32 in interest. But of course, that's not everything that's going to go into the cost of owning this car, so we do have to factor in some other very major expenses as well. Things like car insurance, which for the 911 Carrera 4 GTS would be about $4,021 a year, which is about $355 a month on average for your car insurance cost. But keep in mind that those numbers are going to fluctuate depending on your age, the state that you live in, your driving history, and a bunch of other factors as well. So just make sure you keep in mind that that's going to change depending on your personal circumstances. Now, if we take into consideration that the average person drives about 1,200 miles per month, or about 15,000 miles per year, plus the average current cost of premium gas today, then you'd be looking at about $477.51 a month for your average gas cost. Now, in terms of maintenance, you'd be looking at about $1,192 a year, which is about $99.34 a month for your average maintenance cost. So if you were to add all of these monthly expenses together, then you'd be looking at about $3,909.06 a month on average for the 911 Carrera 4 GTS. And let's say you wanted to keep that at a comfortable 15% of your average income, then that means that you would need to be making about $312,724.80 annually in order to keep it in that comfortable 15% range of your average annual income. And just to put that in perspective, if you paid those same monthly expenses every single month for the entire 72 months that you're financing, plus that original 10% down payment, then in those 6 years alone, you would pay a total of $300,319.38 total over those 6 years for the 2025 Porsche 911 Carrera 4 GTS. Now, I know that price is pretty steep, especially in comparison to the average income, but for me, and I might be a little bit biased because the 911 Carrera is one of my dream cars, so I do plan to get there one day, but I do feel like it is worth it, especially when you consider that it is one of the slowest depreciating vehicles, so it holds its value very well. So I do think it is a good choice overall if you can afford it. But let me know in the comments below what you think of the new 2025 Porsche 911 lineup, and if you think it's worth it or not, or if you think they even made good enough changes. And I'm also curious what you think about it being the new hybrid system. But also, like I said before, this tee is only available for a limited time. Also, a really cool touch is that the silver part on this design is reflective as well, so I just thought that was really neat. But if you use my code HAVEN on feelingprettygood.com, which I will link below, then you get that additional $9.11 off your first order. But it is also available on the TikTok shop if you have other discounts there and would prefer to use those instead. And like I said, either way, whether you go through the website or the TikTok shop, it does help my channel and it helps me keep making these videos. So I do very much appreciate that. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll link Feeling Pretty Good in the description below. And let me know what you want to see next.